everyone. I want to take some time in this video to go over the course syllabus. I'm not going to go through every single section. I'm just going to hit the highlights, but the syllabus is always there for you to refer back to if needed. Remember, you can find the PDF of the syllabus under the Getting Started section, and then underneath this video you'll also see a link to the syllabus in a Word document. So 2 different ways that you can access it. Okay, but this is American literature, so we are going to look quite a bit at literature, right? If you read the course description, it talks about surveying a range of literary works, in American literature from the 1600s through, contemporary literature, right? That's what we're going to be doing. We are going to look at all different types of literature throughout the course. We're going to start with drama, then we're going to move on to poetry, and then we're going to focus on short stories in the last half of the course. Okay. You can look over the course objectives there to kind of give you an idea of what the lessons are going to be teaching you, right? What you're supposed to learn in this course. So you've got recognize literary terms, concepts, critical strategies, and stylistic characters in the text studied. Demonstrate critical and independent thinking in the interpretation of texts. Write analytically about literary works using appropriate research and documentation. Demonstrate an understanding of ways that literature should reflect intellectual, social, historical, and cultural contexts. And evaluate the power of literature to address personal values and goals and to challenge human endeavors, and to recall basic historical events and philosophical or religious terms as provided in each unit. Literature is an art form, and art is often a commentary on what's happening in society at that time, struggles that have endured, even just the human condition in general. But it doesn't happen in a vacuum, and anything that's happening during the time of creation can have indirect or direct influences on what an artist creates. That can be sculpture, painting, and literature, and music, television, movies, right? Any art form. We're going to be focusing on literature though. Okay? Alright, so it is a 40-hour class with about 20 hours of outside work expected. So I mentioned this in the How to Find Your Way Around video, but just keep in mind that you are expected to do roughly 6 hours a week of work on this class. That includes going through all the lessons though that you would normally do in the classroom. Right, so that's lessons and assignments, so about 6 hours a week. You can see the grading scale that's there. So 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, 70 to 79 is a C, and anything 69 or below is a failing grade. So you do have to have a 70% or higher in order to pass the course. You can also see the distribution of grades there, the categories of your grades and how much each category is worth. So you've got your discussions. Those are worth 15% of your overall grade, right? And there'll be 1 discussion each week except for week 10. So that's 9 discussions. Those are worth a total of 15% of your overall grade. They're only worth 20 points each, so it might seem like they aren't that big of a deal, but there's only 9 of them, and they're all worth a total of 15% of your grade. So missing discussions will have an effect on your overall grade. So please do your best to participate in the discussions each week. Not only will it be useful in learning more about this course and the material, but it will help your grade, and again, you have to have a 70% or higher to pass. So definitely do not dismiss the discussions, all right? They're important. Then you have homework assignments, right? There's usually at least 2 every week. One of those is pretty short though, the journal. Sometimes there's 3. I think there's a couple weeks where there's the journal and then 2 other assignments. Most of the time though, it's the journal and 1 other assignment. But all of the assignments throughout the 10 weeks are worth 30% of your overall grade. Then we have our drama and poetry exam. You'll take that in week 4 after we've covered the drama and poetry units. That's it's 100 points, and it's worth 25% of your overall grade. So that's a pretty important one. Now, you don't want to just, not do it. If you get a 0 on it, it's going to be tough to overcome that. Now, if you take it and you do poorly on it, just keep in mind that I always do my best to help students raise their grades. So perhaps there will be an opportunity to make corrections and try again, whatever the case may be. Okay, but don't just skip it, because if you don't even try, then I can't help you raise that grade, right? But everything you'll need for that exam is in the module material, and I think you guys will do just fine. And then there's the short story exam that you'll take at the very end of the course, because we spend a good chunk of time on short stories, so it gets an exam all of its own. And again, it's a little more than the drama and poetry, so that one is worth 30% of your overall grade. Alright, now that one, you're definitely going to want to make sure that you are using all the resources available to you, all the PowerPoints and video lessons and the homework assignments that you'll have completed. All of that material will basically comprise that short story exam. But it is in the final week, and there won't really be a chance to improve that grade. So I'm going to do my best to make sure that you are thoroughly prepared for it and you know exactly where to go to find the material that you'll need to know for the exam. But it is worth 30% of the overall grade. It's a pretty important one. So those 2 exams, the drama and poetry and the short story exam, those are worth 55% of your overall grade. All of that equals out to 100%, of course, right? So we'll go through some of the other important information here. Oh, I didn't mention it before, but the textbook for the class is literature and the writing process, and it is an e-text. You'll find instructions on how to access it under the Getting Started section. If you have any trouble with it, let me know. Alright, but going back through, after all of that business in the first couple pages, you get to page 3 and you'll see the course outline, what we have going on every week. This is a useful place to come if you want to plan ahead, especially, say for instance, you're going to have a busy week at work, or you're going on vacation, right? You can look here and see what's coming up, especially, if there's any big items, like I've highlighted the drama and poetry exam in week 4, and I've highlighted the short story exam in the final week. But you can come here to see what's in store for the following weeks and possibly plan ahead. But this is a very brief description of what we're doing each week, and you don't necessarily want to rely on this as your main source of information for the material and assignments. Definitely use the modules for that. Alright, but you can go through and see, what in store for us. The drama and poetry exam is in week 4, and then the short story exam is in week 10. Keep in mind that week 10 is a short week, so instead of going from Monday to Sunday, it only goes from Monday to Thursday. So that short story exam will be due no later than 11:59 on Thursday of week 10. I'll send out plenty of reminders when we get closer to that. Okay. The next part of the syllabus contains my personal policies. I think probably the one that we need to hit first is the late work policy. I'm always willing to accept late work. I try to encourage students to submit late work no more than 2 weeks after the due date. If you can't do that, if it's going to take you even longer to turn in a late assignment, reach out to me first so that we can discuss it and at least be on the same page. More than likely, I will still allow you to submit it even after that 2-week mark, but I do need to be aware that you're working on it, and I can make notes in our communication system, because I'm not the only one who's looking at the grade book. So that way everyone is on the same page, and we can get you back on track as soon as possible if you have some late assignments. I will not accept any late work, though, past week 9. So by the end of week 9, any late assignments have to be submitted. I won't accept any after that. Now, I will start taking points off for late work if it is more than a week late. And then it's 10% for every week after that. So just keep that in mind. I'll accept it, but you might have a deduction in points, and how much will depend on how late the work is. But I don't try to penalize students any more than I have to. I want everyone to do well and pass the course, so I try to be as flexible as I can. I also know that this is a gen ed course, and you guys have so many other classes that are preparing you for your career. And while this is an important element of education in general, and just being a well-rounded person, I don't expect my class to take priority every week. So I try to be flexible with accepting the late work. But I do have to be fair, so I can't just accept an assignment 6 weeks late and give it the full points when everyone else turned it in on time, right? But I do try to work with you. If you're ever wondering, if you're ever in doubt, reach out to me, okay? There's no harm in asking, and we will, like I said, I'll do my best to help you succeed, all right? The next policy I want to talk about is the plagiarism policy. Now, you're not writing any big essays for this course, but there are homework assignments on the literature that you'll be reading. Most everything that you'll need to do well on those assignments is in the module material and my videos, but still, some students are tempted to do outside research. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to give everything your best shot on your own. There's no need for outside research. And there's absolutely no need to use someone else's ideas and words instead of your own. And that is what plagiarism is. It's also turning in the same exact work as another student. And I know sometimes students form study groups and they work together to help each other understand the material more, to help each other do better on the assignments. They study for quizzes and exams together, all that stuff. And that's fine. But make sure that the answers that you're putting on your assignment are your own words. Even if you guys have worked together to understand it, everyone's answers should be individualized. Even if, they're both correct, but, my friend writes it in his style, right? I write it in my style. We conferred, we're going to have the same type of answer, but it needs to be in our own words. Copying and pasting things from the internet, always a no-no. Even if you can cite it, and at least that helps you avoid plagiarism. But honestly, I don't want you to do any outside research in this course anyway, unless you have been told to do outside research, right? I will give zeros for anything that is plagiarized. More than likely, I will give you a chance to correct it. But just keep in mind that it's really important to me, and I check thoroughly for it. Next next part of my policies really just explains how each category of the gradebook works and what to expect from each type of assignment. So the first one is, of course, the discussion forums. So I already talked about that. There's one every week, except for week 10. They are worth 15% of your overall grade, and since there's only 9 of them, missing too many of those can definitely impact your overall grade. So please do your best to participate. The discussions for this course are going to be a little different than what you might be familiar with. You're actually going to be looking at song lyrics each week. I'll give you a song, just the lyrics, but you're free to look up the song and listen to it, but I give you the lyrics, and then you'll have a couple questions to answer, right? The idea being, this is a literature course, and one of our units is poetry, and I like to think of song lyrics as a form of poetry. It's not straight poetry. It's not exactly the same, but it is very closely related. And so I've taken some songs that kind of span several genres. We've got a little bit of rock, we've got a little bit of country, we've got a little bit of rap and hip-hop. So just a variety of lyrics throughout the 9 weeks of discussions. And again, it's just look at the lyrics, answer a couple questions. That'll be your first post. They're usually due Thursday night, and then you'll respond to 2 classmates before the discussion closes on Sunday night. Once a discussion closes on Sunday night, I am not allowed to reopen it unless someone above me instructs me to do so. I cannot just make that call on my own. So that's why it's so important to make sure that you're not skipping those discussions, because there's a really good chance that you're not going to be able to make them up. So they go from Monday to Sunday each week. Try to have your first post up by Thursday night, and then respond to 2 classmates by Sunday night, right? The next category is exercises and assignments. There will be one type of assignment that you have every week, and it's the journal. And every journal is a follow-up to the previous week's discussion. So, for instance, in week 1, you'll read a set of song lyrics, answer some questions, and respond to 2 classmates. In week 2, the journal assignment for week 2, I will post a video going over that set of song lyrics from the previous week, and then there'll be a prompt that you will respond to in the journal, and I ask you to write nonstop for 8 to 10 minutes. It's a real quick assignment. But you're not responding to anybody. It's not a discussion. It's just an assignment. It's just between me and you. But the prompt in the video is based on the previous week's discussion. So the discussions in the journals go hand in hand. They're in 2 separate categories of the gradebook. Discussions are their own category. The journals fall under the homework assignments category, but they are connected in their, there's a relationship between them. Okay? Then there'll be at least one other homework assignment each week. There's a couple weeks when we get into the short stories where there's 2 assignments, I think for maybe 2 weeks. And those are, most of the assignments, I believe, will be text submissions, meaning you won't need to put them in a Word document or a PDF. I grade based on effort. So as long as you try, you'll probably get the full points. If you get points deducted, it would be either because you turned it in late, significantly late, or because you didn't complete the assignment in full. Like maybe there were 4 questions and you only answered 3 of them. I will leave you feedback on every assignment that you submit, and I will tell you, even if you got full points on it, you might not have been right. But I grade on effort. So I'll give you the full points for your effort, but then in my feedback, I'll tell you where you were off the mark. Or if you got points deducted, I'll tell you in my feedback why, and if there's a way for you to gain those points back. Okay? The assignments category is worth 30% of your overall grade. The next is the drama and poetry exam. Remember, this one's worth 25% of your overall grade. We're going to go through drama and poetry in the first few weeks of the course, and you'll take this exam in week 4. And then there's the short stories exam. We cover short stories in the last 5 or 6 weeks of the course. And then you'll take that exam in the final week. It's worth 30% of your overall grade. All right. That's pretty much all the highlights of the syllabus. You'll see that the last page, the very last page, is the personal acknowledgement of syllabus receipt. So normally, if you were taking this, on campus, you would fill this sheet out and then give it to your instructor before you leave on the first day. I don't need you to do anything with this page. There is an assignment in week 1 where you will acknowledge that you have read the syllabus and watched the video. So you don't need to worry about this last page. Okay? But the syllabus is here, under the Getting Started tab and the Word document underneath this video if you ever want to come back and refer to it. But otherwise, you guys are free to move on to the next item.